Hi, I'm Gill Hudson, Editor-in-Chief of Reader's Digest, and the new year is upon us. Another one? Yes, indeed. We have to stay cheerful. We have to be positive. And one of the most important things that I can recommend to you here is a column called Reason to be Cheerful, because it's one of readers' favourite reads, and it's by someone called James Brown, and that someone called James Brown is here. James Brown, welcome!
Hi there.
And you have been doing our Reasons to be Cheerful column for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And still they come.
Yeah, well, it was a discipline for me because I spent a lot of time being really miserable.
Oh.
and negative. And when you asked me to write a column, I thought, I wonder if I could write something really positive every month. And
have we changed your life? Are you telling me we've changed your life?
Me keep a bit of. I mean, my girlfriend thinks it's hilarious that I've got a column called Reasons to be. But you can do that, can't you? You get set in your ways. You don't challenge yourself. You just get your routines.
You have to look at life differently sometime.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this great long list
I'm glad
of
you've got
reasons
that. My memory's not too good.
I knew you wouldn't remember them all.
Okay,
let's look at crime thrillers. Do you remember that one?
I love reading crime books. They just numb everything else out.
Yeah, is it because you just you're completely immersed in another world?
I interviewed Lee Child, who's now a massive success, probably one of the biggest crime authors in the world, and I interviewed him about 10 years ago. And I said, I've kind of run out of books to read. And he told me a few new guys like James Lee Burke.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, no, I've got to get onto that. I've not read him.
Yeah, James Lee Burke's a beautiful writer. He writes about a recovering alcoholic, crime, a policeman in New Iberia, which is like near New Orleans. Yeah. And they're brilliant books. They're beautifully written books.
So that makes you cheerful. Okay, I'm going to move on to the toilet seat.
Yeah, that was the strangest.
Simple pleasure.
Yeah, that was the strangest thing I wrote. Do you remember the advert, Vorsprung Duck technique?
I do.
And instead of showing the car all racing around in a quarry with things exploding, it was just the door going clunk.
Yeah.
And I realised I was having a Vorsprung Duck technique moment when I bought a new toilet seat. I'm not very good around the house.
Through that.
What I noticed was when it had a sort of cushioned fall, so it didn't just clatter down.
Oh, it just kind of.
And I started really liking the cushioned fall, just the motion of it. I wasn't stood there watching it, but I liked the fact that you touched it and it was under control. This whole column is really, for me, is like a gratuity list. It's just, it can be something epic, like when I went kayaking in Canada.
Well, you've done some huge travel things, haven't you? That was amazing.
Or when I went up to the Himalayas, which I love doing, and I kind of, at first I thought I might do loads of things like that, and then I started to realise that actually on a daily basis,
oh, you're teeny
there are things that I've come to take for granted that if I didn't have them, it'd be depressing.
I think the thing I love about your column, and I'm sure it's why readers like it, is that it's very accessible. They aren't necessarily having to go to the Himalayas to have a great time, but it's just appreciating these tiny things that you don't think about. But when you have to think about them, you think, I really like that. Yeah. And your logs.
Well, logs. I just started doing the logs. It's not so much chopping as stacking.
Yeah.
The logs ran out. I've got a cottage that is on the edge of a nature reserve, and you've got to have logs. So I built my own log pile and I wrote the column about it. That's what I was doing at 4 o'clock yesterday.
In the days when you launched Loaded magazine, the great lads mag, that you'd be talking to me about stacking logs?
No, but you know, the reason I write this column as well is I'm not 27 anymore, I'm 47.
I particularly liked your playing football with your son.
I'm probably at the point now I need to actually learn a bit about coaching, and sometimes it just feels like you're babysitting for about 30p an hour for 16 kids, and that's really difficult.
That's
if you haven't, I've not ever done anything like this. I've not been a teacher, or never. It's totally new to me.
It's a whole new skill. It's really nice. All these things that you didn't think as you get older, you suddenly realise you're doing things.
Well, I didn't think I'd be here.
No, exactly.
And quite honestly, I didn't think when I was living a more hedonistic lifestyle, covering music and then working on Loaded, I didn't think I'd be here approaching 50.
I'm going to give you a shameless plug for what you're doing now, because apart from writing for Reader's Digest and all these reasons to be cheerful, you're also doing sabotagetimes.com, sabotagetimes.com, which is just where you're kind of curating interesting articles by interesting people. They're not just journalists, are they?
People who probably
talent.
aren't getting published elsewhere. Last month we had 813,000 people visit the site and read it.
That's fantastic.
And we have about 2,000 or 3,000 people write for it. And it's doing really well. Yeah. It's doing really, really well. And we've just paid £100,000, the cheque that took us past £100,000 to contributors. often those checks are going to new writers who've never been published
because
before.
it's very hard for people to get a
It's
foothold
really difficult.
now.
It's a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's going
That's
well.
a
It's going
major
really good.
reason to be cheerful. James,
It
thank
is.
you so much for
Thank
coming.
you. Thanks
Keep
for
up the
having me.
good work.
Okay, thank you.